the change in the roster, it shows that they wanted to get in some kind of new mental space as well. You know, Cajun B does not lack in performance, and so maybe it was more of try to change their mental state as a team.
As you can hear, a packed house behind us, and we are going to be jumping into the first pistol round, which sees the Finns on the CT side. Very quickly, the man in question, Kiwi, is going to be firing out onto A. This is actually a fake for now. The bomb is still moving around. It's actually going to get caught from Yuho potentially. Oh my goodness, he just manages to scamper by. I believe he heard the footsteps. And if he lands this frag, the bomb will be in a horrible position for Astralis. The headshot is connected and Yuho has to hold fire for now. So the bomb will be moving onto A side. Moving in now still. Gonna get planted as well, Launders, and ENCE looking for that retake.
Wow. What an interesting fake. Now we have a player in connector. Actually, we have one on the big flank, and that's Palace. He's going to be the man to watch in any moment. He's very low, but suddenly it's a 2v5, and it's just Sunny.
Easy shutdown from Astralis. Only device falls.
That was quite an incredible fake, wasn't it? We actually saw them bring the bomb into apps to show it, because you're not going to get a good team to completely abandon a site unless you show them 2 or 3 players or the bomb, and that was the choice they made. Now, there was a moment where Yuho was able to potentially take the head off the guy bringing the bomb back to A site, and that might have been a flaw in their strategy, but he managed to live, and they ended up getting the plan on the A site. I mean, that was a super close round, but really interesting to see the bomb actually go to the other side. You almost never see that.
Absolutely, and it nearly, you know, a case of playing with fire and getting burnt from Astralis, because like I say, if Yuho lands that frag in the T spawn, the bomb's dropped out, and that entire tactic falls on its head. So Astralis just about navigate their way through to the first round, and as expected, ENCE will be going for the force. Alu picking nothing up so he can get the AWP as soon as possible, and heavy aggression through mid, sees Dupree somewhat clutching at straws. The first 2 kills have came down for ENCE. Astralis should still be favorites to take this round, but there's a Galil in the hands of Nasu, and he's got the Kevlar as well. All going to be coming through connector, so a bit of a bottleneck situation for the Finns. And good retake coming into fruition, maybe, or maybe Kiwi has something to say about that. 3 kills. He's already picked up 4. He's actually on for the ace. Carrigan's to take that away from him. But Astralis will take it, especially after losing the first 2 players.
Yeah, after you lose the first 2 players, it's almost certainly in favor of the people who had pistols, even though, you know, your opponents have rifles, but they just got such good spots, and then everyone coming in connector was a perfect funnel for the man on site, the one A ramp, the one CT. They had all their bases covered there, so no surprise that Astralis were able to pick it up after losing the first 2 frags, but it must be a little bit worrying for them that ENCE knew exactly how to get in their face on that round.
For sure. It is going to be ENCE onto an eco flashbang from one of his teammates. Get wrecked. It is a stack going from ENCE onto A site, and Astralis have somewhat sniffed this one out, so they'll just be heading towards B, make sure it's clear. No pesky CTs hiding in any corners. Zartez now going to find out the information for his team, but it's too little too late. Astralis, you have to assume we'll be taking this 3rd round, and pretty convincingly at that.
Yeah. Sometimes we watch teams take a site versus an eco, and they'll be very careful. In fact, they'll be very worried about not seeing anyone. And here's just the quiet cleanup here. Kerrigan getting a few frags with his UMP and gathering all that money. So much bonus for that, and trades out for an AK. But that's the round. It's all 3-0. Now, working into the site slowly can be kind of a double-edged sword, right? If you're working it versus an eco, because the gather stack on the other side of the map, they might just decide to pack up and leave and try to gamble on the other side after realizing that no one's come to A. But they moved really quickly, right? They went into B, they cleared a few angles, but ultimately they just grouped up and hit it. And I think that was very important. As we saw, Zarte worked his way over to B. He would have called that, oh, maybe it's going to be the B site, and then had his teammates come over, but it was too late.
I guess you have to roll the dice in those kind of situations from ENCE. The chance of you winning straight up duels with USPs is so low.
Yeah, definitely.
So, sure they lose the round, but here comes the bite. This is what the eco was all for. AWP will be in play for Alu. Same can be said, though, for Device. And it's just going to be trying to hold this off. We can already see Astralis starting to congregate around the 2 entrances to A, both Palace and Ramp. And now Carrigan's got to interconnect. He gets a free frag. There'll be some questions out from Yuho. That's a vital, pivotal position that's just fallen away from the Finnish roster, and now it's all up to Sunny to try and claw this kill back onto Carrigan. 12 HP. He'll pick it up, but there's Device with a return frag, leaving. Zarto is going to be moving from the B site all by his lonesome. This is going to be a rough ask, Launders, for him to clutch from here.
Wow. Absolutely incredible. How fast the pace that round went by. We had Kerrigan go all the way up mid in the connector. No one spotted him, and they had the split going in 20 to 30 seconds. It very much, I think, was assumed by ENCE that it was going to be a slow split, maybe mid-control first, but instead, Kerrigan got right onto that smoky connector, and they performed the split as soon as he got there. They spent no time looking around. They decided, all right, there's probably going to be 2 players on A. Let's go kill them.
As you say, pure timing, maybe assuming that smoke was a brick wall. Of course it's not. You can just walk straight through there, and that really cost ENCE a great deal, and we expected this to be pretty one-sided. It's already got into dangerous territory for ENCE. They're staring down a 5-0 deficit. CZ's P250 is going to have to try and save the day. Get ENCE to lift the deadlock that has fallen on them. Astralis bomb plant. Now it's a case of maybe trying to get a couple of exit frags, but apart from that, ENCE will be conceding this round.
What's quite cool is that we see Astralis with some new tactics already. It seems like they're playing with fresh strategies, and that's something that's so hard to come by, right? After playing this game for so long, you know, we're getting with players up to 6,000 or 7,000 hours, right, playing against each other constantly, and even still, Astralis is showing us that you can reinvent yourself if you're creative enough. And on that last pistol and that anti-eco, we saw some interesting plays, or excuse me, the pistol where they showed the bomb. We saw that there are new ways to play this game all the time, if you can come up with them.
5-0. Dupree getting a bit of farm. 2 kills for him with a Mac 10. Showing Astralis, who have been cool and collected so far. You can see there their money as well. It's a pretty cool little stat for the crowd to see. They are healthy on funds, and they will be buying back for the next couple rounds, regardless of what happens. ENCE have another crack and a chance of getting a rifle round go their way. Remember, last time it was connected, it was the issue, and they just forced onto the A site, so ENCE are putting a bit more of their force and their focus up there. Dupree burning alive. He could even go down.
That's a 1G.
2 health left. Pretty much is a 1G.5. But Kerrigan is going to do his best to alleviate the pressure that was inflicted from Astralis. Although Sonny bounces right back to the frag of his own. This is one of the best chances that ENCE have had to take a round. But now he's forced to move out. His Nasu as a molly lands just below his feet. Kirby's with 1. Zipnik's with the 2nd. Oh, ENCE. Deja vu. We've seen this before.
And suddenly, it seems like ENCE are completely uncomfortable. We had a call out there onto the default box for that Molotov. I mean, throwing one there means if there is someone playing there, they have no spots to come out. If there are players at Tetris, they're going to get that frag. And immediately, it gets compromised. And Astralis really didn't spend time looking at other spots on the site. So it seems like there are a lot of call outs coming out right now. Ooh, there's Arte noticing the tracer fire coming out from the top of the box, but Kirby comes out for the trade, and Astralis keep 3 alive. Looking very, very powerful right now. So far, I've gotten away with mid-control, fast A takes, fast B takes, an interesting pistol round. A lot of good things to be said.
That round wasn't even necessarily a case of superior tactics. It was just straight-up Angels going the way, and that's a bit awkward, wasn't it?
You know, that smoke should have definitely put out. Like, he was looking at the fire.
Yeah.
Funny moment nonetheless.
These things happen. Fortunately for him, his team was there to take the round regardless, and just the UMP in play for Sonny, equalizing the economy. Everyone else with CZs. Astralis back in prime position. 2 players have been wrecked as well through mid. Yuho and Sonny both find themselves below 20 health, although the kill comes down from Zartistiegel. Will be cancelled out from Kerrigan, who's there for a 2nd. Could very well be good for a 3rd. Just charges into connector. Picking up kills all over the map. You got to say here, Lorne, ENCE looking like they haven't shown up so far.
I wonder what the appropriate adjustment is, just thinking about the last couple of rounds that were won by Astralis, where ENCE had rifles. And I think that, to start off, mid-control needs to be taken a little bit more seriously. If they shut down that lurk, for example, if Kerrigan died on that rifle round, it's unclear to me exactly how Astralis would have decided to proceed after, you know, their connector player died. It would give away the A take, and they had 2 players up at A ramp, up in Palace, trying to make a move. So I think if ENCE are able to shut down mid-control or just hang on to it, not worry about A so much in the early round, and won't actually stop the bomb, but gets a frag on another player. Oh.
Close, but all things considered, Astralis still in such a good position here. Zata may even think about trying to save the AWP, but it's such a difficult position to do so. He's actually got a terrorist snaking up behind him. That's going to be Dupree, and the final nail has been put in the coffin for round 7.
Yeah.
And from a neutral's viewpoint right now, you just hope that ENCE have something up their sleeve.
Yeah, I think it's not over right now. It's just that the couple of rounds that Astralis have won, they've done so good in the early round, getting away with the sneak that they wanted to, right? Sneaking a player into connector, making the other team assume that it's going to be a fast B hit. Like, they've gotten away with these things without any tests whatsoever. And I think that the key for ENCE is figuring out how to find that early player. And for me, it's hanging on to mid and paying a lot of attention to it. Now, we were seeing the 2-1-2 once again. Alu this time is actually in window when I think in the previous round he was in connector. And it's his job to move around. When he was on NIP, in my opinion, he was the best Opera Mirage out there in the world. Like, he had so many of his frag clips come from this connector, like peeking the stairs in the palace, peeking out connector and underpass, top mid, and he did a great job moving around.
Oh yeah. He often would just drop down into underpass and get the insta frag, as you said before. The incendiary has connected, does no damage at all, but does isolate Dupree from his partner in crime of Kirby, who is there, and it's Sunny now in mid from short. That'll put the hammer down. We've seen ENCE take the first kill before though and do nothing with it, so I don't want to get too carried away just yet. Kirby and Carrigan have been getting so many frags on the entry, still alive and kicking as well. 50 seconds to go. Bomb now starting to maneuver itself back towards the T-spawn. Looks like it could be an A play, especially as Ipnix is still waiting in Palace. Here comes the push. Oh, it's so important for Yuho to get that, but he's fallen down. Carrigan goes down afterwards, but has the damage been done for ENCE? They still have the player advantage. Kirby, hello. Nice frag onto Sunny. And with the mollies landing onto CT box, it's going to be hard for ENCE to stop this plant if it comes in right here, right now. There's another Molotov that's going to be tossed out towards jungle. Bomb's going to get planted from devices being slammed up through those boxes, but no damage inflicted from Nasu. And the plan comes to fruition. And with the AWP and the lack of grenades for ENCE, this is going to be a rough act. There's a big kill from Alu, though. And Alzata, who is going to be tiptoeing his way through jungle, may have Kirby to contend with, who's played this one very patiently. The bomb is planted for him, planted for short. Kirby's going to be coming around the corner. First kill comes down. He's spraying through the smoke. Second kill for Kirby. Massive from him, and he could even go ahead and get a third. The bomb is going to tick down. Alu can do nothing about this now, just try and save the AWP. Astralis are going to be able to get away with the round and keep Alu from taking the AWP as well.
Wow, absolutely phenomenal round from Kirby as he got those 3 kills, each of them equally as important as the last. And what was crazy was, in that early round, we saw Carrigan die in connector, right? This is the player that was supposed to sneak up, and Kirby getting these frags, headshots as well. All of them critically important. Another one on the bomb diffuser. Wow. Unreal 4K, yeah.
Yeah, massive.
But Carrigan goes down, plans out the window. Astralis make an adjustment and then win the round off the back of great individual performances, right? And so we see, even in that 5v4 situation, Astralis managed to get the better of ENCE after the jig is up on their entire strategy. So pretty incredible stuff. Good adjustment made.
Sunny again going to be running with the UMP. The rest of the team, we have seen this before. Of course, they have that round loss bonus coming out the neck. Unable to do anything with it.
Oh my god.
Oh, you
oh. So much damage dealt.
But look at this though, Sunny's also there with his UMP, so ENCE may have missed a bit of an opportunity, but they still find themselves in an advantageous position. AK picked up for Nasu. Alu goes down, and they needed him to stay alive. What? Dupree survives on 3 health. He had no right to survive that onslaught. And now it falls to Nasu with a lack of Kevlar. The newest addition, the newest recruit to ENCE. Bomb's gonna get planted. Dupree comes out. Nasu misses almost every bullet. Finally gets it, but Ipnix is gonna keep the 16-0 dream alive for Astralis.
Just as you mentioned, no right to get that frag, or no right to stay alive, right? It's been the story of the match. And Astralis get away with another one after giving up man advantage again. I think we've had at least 3 rounds right now, with 2 of them being ecos. That last one, the second round of the map, the first rifle round where it seemed like ENCE had an insane ability to just win straight up. And now Alu's back in window, as you mentioned, jumping in underpass for that pick to shut it down. The thing is, someone flies out top mid right now. He's in a bad spot. No one's here to cover him, but is quite confident that he can get away with this peak for a while.
We haven't really seen Astralis using underpass too often either. I'm thinking of 1 or 2 rounds maybe at most. So you can see what Alu's going for, but he's just hitting a brick wall. Astralis are giving nothing away.
Yeah. This is a default that is asking for a mistake, right? Very passive, all the way back. You know, come and peek me here. I'll give you a little thing to bite on. Maybe this will give you some false information. Maybe you'll push something that'll run into one of our players. But ENCE are playing relatively static, and that could be a bad thing as well.
Grenades utilized to just stop the push, but with so much time left, a must needed kill for Alu goes begging, goes missed opportunity. And whereas he did have the positional advantage before, he now has to turn away as the smokes are connecting in mid. Yuho's there for the first kill though, breaks a deadlock again for ENCE. Can they finally get around on the board is now the question. Kirby says a resounding no with one kill. There's Karrigan. Alu misses another shot through mid. He could have single-handedly put this round to rest, and now that Zarta's fallen down, Astralis have dodged bullets. They may very well take the 10-0. It's going to come up to Nasu to pull off some big plays. The bomb carrier is down. Nice. Crossfire picked up from ENCE. And Alu with a second, making amends for the previous missed opportunities. He now falls to Dupree to get another clutch for Astralis. 11 seconds. He has to go in for this one. He's fighting through the box. Very nearly gets the frag. Nasu just down to 19. But it looks like ENCE will finally get themselves on the board. Better late than never, but there's a long way to go from here.
Wow, they finally do it, and this time it's a round that it seems like it's going to go in the favor of Astralis, right? Yeah. And should go in the favor of Astralis, but no, they do put it together. I mean, that means something. I think the way the round played out, it doesn't really tell them much as to how they can do that again, right? It was Alu getting a couple of really key frags in a moment where they had a lot of disadvantages, so they can't play off of that knowledge, but they've got to find a new way to open it up and take better control, because it didn't seem like they knew how they won that round, if that makes sense.
It has been one of those games, though, Lord, that another day, ENCE could have 4 or 5 rounds. There's been a lot of clutches, a lot of 2v2s. Suddenly now deciding that aggression maybe is the way forward against Astralis, and they have been rewarded for their efforts. 2-on-4, albeit with ENCE having 2 members who are circling the drain somewhat. Now falls the device, so the key thing there is you've reset your round loss bonus. ENCE couldn't afford to lose that round, and it looks like they're going to pass with flying colors.
Yeah, actually a key moment for Astralis where they could show us why they won 9 rounds in a row. Instead, ENCE put together one round maybe off of a little bit of a fluke when they should have won rounds in the past, but put it together nonetheless, and then follow up with another very dominant round to show us that the adjustments they were making throughout the game actually made some sense and it finally worked out in their favor. Now, Astralis have been bailed out in the past, but maybe this is enough to get ENCE a solid half overall. I mean, even 4 or 5 rounds here could mean the world to them.
Absolutely, it gives them at least some foundations to build off, but Device is still alive, and he still has a bit of time to play with as well. He's been spotted on short, but he has the bomb. That's really important. Does miss the jump into window, but could that actually play mind games with ENCE? They probably assume that he would have connected that. The call may come through, and he's now going to be using the M4 instead. Makes a lot of sense in this situation, but he's checking every corner, and in doing so, valuable time has been lost. They switch across to the AK, but Yuho is there. Originally, the smoke was covering off the cross. Did dissipate alongside Device. 2 rounds now for ENCE.
Yeah, they make it happen. No, it was all up to Device to just do some economic damage. It does matter so much in that moment, but ultimately ENCE have had a round where they kept 3 players alive and then put one together with 2. So overall, they've got a significant amount of rebuys, and Astralis just trying to break into the double digits. Setting up for a full A take, no mid control whatsoever. This puts a lot of pressure on Zarte over in spawn. Or is that actually, no, it's Nasu over in spawn. To call out this information, try to get a frag, but more importantly, stay alive.
They're going to play for the retake, then losing Alu right off the bat is horrendous for ENCE. And they've lost a second as well. It's that man you mentioned, Nasu, on the CT boxes goes down. Yuho will be tapping his way to victory, though, from the CT boxes, and the corpse of his teammate. And now, it's up to Zarta to try and push the smoke. The flash lands in his face. Dupree, he can sense the blood in the water, and he's going to be trying to stalk his prey. Gets traded out. Zarta falls in the meanwhile. And all the while, of course, the bomb is ticking down, slowly but surely. Yuho up on the stairs, misses his chance. He's going to get put down as a result. So he now comes in. One frag in a second. He's going to get the clutch. But with 4 players falling in the process, that's still going to hurt the Finns.
Wow, and this
Close
almost
as
near
well.
last second defuse. Does he have it? It's actually so
has
close.
it, yeah.
He does put it together, and that's a third round on the board.
So close. Big clutch. Maybe that could be the determining factor. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Like, make no mistake, ENCE is still up the creek without a battle.
Yeah, no, absolutely though, Vince. Like, in a best of one, right, you're the team who is unfavored, becomes slightly more favored, and then it's the clutches that make the difference. Now, not only was that a 1v1-1, right, but that was an economy-breaking round. And it looked like almost for both teams there. Device now just on a Galil, and mid control being taken. Sunny throwing that Molotov so no one can cross, but it looks like he has no opponents, and actually gets quite aggressive and shut down by Dupree. That's a huge frag unanswered from ENCE.
We have seen him do that before, just a couple rounds previously, so almost telegraph push. And you saw that Astralis had 2 players there waiting for him. A 1-for-1 trade is always going to favor the T's. Now, being said though, ENCE have somewhat remedied the situation. Now find themselves in a 4-on-3, albeit with Alu and Yuho tagged up to 41 health apiece. Device now going to use the cracks in this defense to his advantage. Going to be going through into ladder room. He's going to meet a CT in the form of Zato, puts him down. Things shaping up good for ENCE. Still a minute to play with though.
It seems like Astralis have really cooled off, hasn't it? A lot of the trades simply not going their way. It's not something we saw in the first 9 rounds of this map. I mean, it was what bailed them out in the first place. It actually seemed like ENCE were playing better in some situations, even though Astralis had some great things to say about them. But now it's just like, not only are the strategies not going their way, but they are not hitting their shots either. And that's got to be a worrying sight for them.
McKirby again, we've seen him use this position so many times alongside Carrigan, very nearly finds the kill. So Yuho, Zipnix with 25 seconds. Similar to Device in his 1v4, has the bomb. This is a much more winnable position though when you consider where the CTs are spread out, and the fact 2 of them are very low and close to death. It's all on this kill you have to feel, although Cavalry is arriving in kitchen from ENCE. Zipnix with 1, he's going to go for that plant, he doesn't expect the remaining CT on the site, and Zarte will put him down.
Shut him down. And do we actually see an eco, I think, from Astralis? They are very close to having absolutely no money whatsoever. We saw that Galil last round from Device, and I think that they're just going to be have to rethink their strategies now. I mean, they lost that clutch round, they lost the second round to follow up. All of a sudden, ENCE have put together 4 rounds in a row, looking like a brand new team. And moving into the second half, when you feel like you've lost the later part of the first half, it's not really good for your mentality. I think even if you come away with less than half of the later rounds, the fact that you won most of them means something.
Oh, for sure. Going in at half time, ENCE will feel the win behind them.
Yeah.
Momentum's in their sails. But
right.
Still, if you look at the overall scoreline, Astralis will be in a commanding position, even if they do lose these next 2 rounds. It just takes them to get the next pistol, and they're looking good on their CT side.
Oh, they actually have the decision to force up head armor, a couple of AKs,
yep.
And this is because following this round will be the last of the half. So 2 bad buys or 1 semi-good buy is the decision.
Absolutely, and they've got a lot of round loss bonus as well, so they'll be able to get a similar buy into the next round. Alu though, break the deadlock. There was eerie silence that fell on the battlefield, but now it's all guns blazing. Dupree will answer back for 1. Here comes Carrigan again from Connector. This time there will be fan out from Sunny, leaving Dupree with his AK-47. All that stands for Astralis, but not for too much longer. And promising signs for ENCE. It looked like they're about 16-0, 16-1. It seemed a very real possibility. Now suddenly they got themselves 5 rounds at least on this off.
Yeah, I mean it's suddenly turning into can ENCE continue the momentum, win a pistol? Here they've got an AK buy on Astralis. Oh, and so the thing about what happened now is that Astralis have the loss bonus going for them. I think that was an oversight by my part.
Yeah, they had 4 or 5 rounds, well, 4 rounds of round loss going into this. So they'll be sitting fairly pretty. But that being said, Yuho with 2, and where was this ENCE before?
Whoa.
They have wrecked Astralis, taken no prisoners.
It definitely seemed like the main problem was being able to hit their shots, and suddenly they've just gone 1 for 1. Every single one of the players on their team got the came out on the positive side of the duel, and they put together a round without losing a single man.
Very nicely done. We mentioned about the momentum going through into the second half. There's no better way of taking the final round of the half than to just blitz it out and get the clean sweep.
Yeah, 5-0. Absolutely.
So that's food for thought for Astralis. But again, they're experienced players. They've been here before. They've done it. Yeah, we just lost the last 6 rounds. who cares?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they can still take this pistol, they can still take this home very comfortably indeed.
Now they have been here in good and bad ways too,
True.
right?
Yep.
I mean, so is everybody, right? And that might be weighing on their conscience a little bit. Again, ENCE not a team to be slept on.
Definitely not. We saw this as well at DreamHack Tours when ENCE went behind. I can't remember which team they're playing. It may have been SK or someone like that. They went behind vast amounts of rounds and actually came back to win it. So we know they've got great tenacity. They've got a lot of grit as well. And this is where Nasu comes in. This is where his very calm, steady approach to the game and not getting too carried away can steer the likes of Alu to the right path. Here we go, second round.
Yeah, and that actually it's Astralis who have like the best stats in the world against tier 2 or more teams, right? They're the least likely to get upset of anyone else.
Right. Pistol round coming up. Thought it would be a fast push, but actually delaying for a few seconds. Now playing into Carrigan's hands. Device is tapping through, gets the final bullet onto Alu through the flash, through the smoke as well. Why the hell not? Sunny meanwhile puts down Dupree. But ENCE are certainly struggling into this round. Sunny is low. GFB about to get the free frag onto him as he went scouting onto the B side of the map. They may be thinking about wrapping their way around through onto B side, but now they have to be very careful because GFB is going to continue to push, and this is vital information as well. Astralis know this is going to be a ramp palace-sided T push, and well, it's all on Nasu. Good luck to you, sir.
Kirby, absolute monster. A couple of those kills came out. And just way too much work to do. Nasu can't win the round. Astralis get the second pistol, second of the map, and that is going to be a big factor in the final score here. 2 pistols in a row. I mean, that could mean a total of 6 rounds, right? They survived getting ecoed in the first half as well, and this bolsters their scoreline in such a big way. Now it's going to be ENCE who it looks like not full buy. We have 2 players, Yuho, Sunny, Zarte actually as well has armor, but not everyone's spending all their money.
The thing is that over the last 3 months, Astralis is 7 for 2 on Mirage. That's with a 15% pistol win rate. So winning both pistols, you'd assume this is a formality at this point.
Right. Wow.
It should be easy. But they've lost the first player. Sunny's Deagle goes to town. Not sure what that announcement was all about, but it sounded interesting.
Felt like I was getting on the subway. On the tram, right? Is that what you call it?
Astralis just after holding position, but having that first pick for ENCE now allows them to play the mind games a little bit more. Do Astralis go looking? Do they just sit in? It looks like it's going to be sitting in. They do have the weapon advantage, of course.
Yeah. Now A is the much bigger site. It's also the one that needs to be less forwardly protected in the sense that you don't have to commit players to the site. You can retake very easily. But Dupree up here means that actually will he get shot in the back? I think he might have been spotted. No.
Have a crossfire down from KFB's M4, and it looked horrible for a couple of seconds for Astralis, but no, that was a clean shutout after losing the first player. It did look bad for Dupree. He got spotted, but fortunately for him, KFB just teed them off from season.
Yeah. One of the most relevant stats I think of this match will just be how many times ENCE were able to get the first kill and not turn it into a round win, right? Typically, at any range for teams, getting the first kill should mean winning the round 70 to 80% of the time, and I think that stat is definitely skewed in this match at ENCE, or I guess Astralis have been able to win it despite that.
This should be easy picking now for Astralis. They got the jump scout in effect. And, well, ENCE respecting that, saying, okay, fair enough, let's just maybe back away from this one. In the meanwhile, they're actually going to push a player up here. It's going to be Carrigan with MP9 to make sure they do indeed back off. He overextended, he could give a weapon away. It's only MP9, in actual fact, he's standing his ground, he's lost no health. How is he even healthy at this point? He's going to go back in for seconds, finally gets picked off, but Astralis will answer back in kind, and that comeback from the first half looks to be diminishing very quickly now for ENCE.
Yeah, ENCE treating him with way too much respect there, looking like NPCs, just waiting for him to peek and take fights whenever he wanted to. And I think they need to be a little bit more explosive. And now Astralis have 2 times the round that ENCE do and are moving into the first rifle round of the half. So even if ENCE are able to win this, have to battle back against the fact that Astralis have had economy building rounds. And here's Dupree to maybe show us how mid-control should look like. So Alu might have a good advantage there, gets that first frag, traded by Device, and then traded back by Kirby.
Yeah, a couple flashes from both teams just lighting up the opposition, but Astralis coming out best with the crossfire. The position we saw Sunny using a couple of times as well when the roles were reversed, but Astralis just seemed to have that individual skill edge over ENCE so far in this matchup, and that's kind of what we were expecting. Arrogant misses out on a spray, kill opportunity, but having the rest of his team moving in to keep A safe for now. Obviously, we have the benefit of the mini-map. We know that ENCE are making moves into mid. They have smokes as well, so it is possible they could smoke off connector, maybe window, and try and push into B. He'd be very fortunate that Molly didn't spread a little bit further, otherwise he'd have had to have relocated at great cost of his life. I wonder if this may actually bait ENCE into assuming that he's not in this corner.
They've got to know if it doesn't land high enough on the stairs, it won't spread to the top of connector. And Kirby didn't even make a move like he knew.
There was smoke down. I worry a little bit here if they're going to check this. They do check it. Okay, great.
Yeah, good awareness.
I was a little bit concerned that they'd end up getting wrecked from behind from Kirby. Information has been grabbed though for Astralis, and with 20 seconds, ENCE have to move on to the site. The damage is being inflicted. Here comes a scout from Zipnix, misses it. 15 seconds down for Masters there from Carrigan. Easy as you like for Astralis.
Yep, and that's ENCE puttering to a halt. What's crazy is that if ENCE had won both pistols, survived their ecos, let's put the 6-round difference in there, we see Astralis have to work back from a 3 or 4 round deficit. So instead, now we're moving into the first rifle round being lost. ENCE on another eco, and the ability for Astralis to put themselves one away from match point in the blink of an eye, really. Not having to do that much work on the CT side whatsoever.
At this point, everything stacked heavily in Astralis' favor. That grenade has done so much damage, and it should just be a cleanup from Carrigan and Zipnix. And here we go. The spray ineffective. Slams the third. Really nothing that ENCE can do to battle back. They look a bit uninspired, and it's going to be a shutout from Astralis. Smiles across the faces of the Danes. And why not? They have been performing very well. I thought maybe this was the perfect time to face Astralis in the very first game, you know, before they wake up, before they get into the swing of things.
Get the crust out of their eyes.
It's been the complete opposite, really.
Yeah, absolutely, Beast. I think, you know, we were talking about ENCE because they were won just like 4 or 5 rounds in a row. They looked good in the first bit of the half, and I think they did have kind of a, not a wounded Astralis, but maybe a little bit of a unwarmed up Astralis to take advantage of, but let them get their footing and now have such a significant lead to work up against. First kill going the way of Astralis. I'd say that spells disaster more than if their opponents were the ones to have that benefit. Kirby has also made an informational play here up in B-Apps. Maybe go 1 for 1, but that's a kill. Oh, it's not. It's Sunny. Oh my goodness.
I was completely alongside you. I thought Kirby may even get 2 out of that, the way he's been playing. He's top fragging right now for Astralis, and now Carrigan has to move away from Sandwich, where the fire has been placed. Asu with the entry onto Carrigan. Now it's Dupree's moment to shine. Hasn't had to do a great deal in this game. Fair play to Zafta, though. Gets the by headshot with the AK. Bomb's still not quite transitioned onto the site, but it will be in a few more seconds. They have to be very careful, though. They don't have connector control, and Device is going to put it down from there. The smoke comes out, allows him to move through, lands the P250 shot onto Sunny. Salt in the wounds for ENCE, and now it's up to Alu. We know he has crazy potential with the AWP. 3 kills for Device in this round already, though. He'll be looking for his 4K. Bomb planted. Now it's a battle of the AWPs. Enemy at the gate style.
Well, Device has to make an assumption about where it is that Alu is played in. He knows there's not going to be posted.
Oh, Alu misses the shot. That could really cost him this round. Although, that being said, so did Device on the first time. Lands it on the second.
Wow.
And so far, ENCE have won 0 rounds on their T-half.
Had quite the opportunity there. Alu, you know, spot at the top of the stairs. That's typically the angle that you want to hold off, because from the top of the stairs, you're not exposed from anywhere else. So you take a peek there. If someone peeks you, free frag, and Alu couldn't put it together. Now it's, and that means that Astralis have a round. Not only do they have a round, but they have match points, and it's ENCE who have to battle back from 6.
This is asking a lot, isn't it? 9 rounds in a row just to take us to overtime, and I wonder if this is going to factor into the back of the minds of ENCE now. Do they want to play Mirage again in the future in these best of ones? Because this has not been the greatest of performances. Fair enough against Astralis, who are amazing on these maps.
Yeah,
2 kills go down in quick succession. It's looking like this could be it for ENCE. They're circling the drain. They're about to get unplugged off the life support. Astralis with the mercy killing. 16-6, kind of the way we expected it, but I was hoping for better things after that comeback in the first half.
Yeah, and that comeback in the first half told us so much about the CT side events, that they are formidable opponents on Mirage. But the thing was, they weren't able to put anything together on T side. They didn't get the pistol, right? They lost a clutch round or 2 that ended up counting against them. And even though Mirage is one of their more played maps, I think what was most surprising to me is that they banned us 2, which is like their most played map.
Yeah.
So maybe we see a little bit of change from ENCE in terms of what they like to do, maybe with their new 5th, and stuff's being shuffled around, and so everything could be up in the air. Maybe Mirage not as strong as they originally thought.
And that's what I'm saying. I wonder if this is going to start to play in the back of their minds, you know, like coming into this, they played a lot of Mirage over a span of a week. I think they played it 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
They had some decent results, but it wasn't against tier 1 opponents. Now they play against Astralis, and it seemed to fall apart a little bit. You know, 0 rounds in their T half, that's rough. You're expecting to get at least a couple out of that situation, I'm sure.
At least one thing, I mean, a couple of things one expected, the fact that Astralis won, but also that Kirby was an insane player on this map, right? Stellar performance. We saw him get so many critical frags that were on rounds that resulted in an eco for the other team. That's worth more than anything else, and a lot of them were entries as well, so really good play from him.
For sure, so that is going to put Astralis right off the bat into a very good position in their group. Again, we expect that they will go through to the finals and potentially even win this. I think Nip may have something to say about that, though.
Yeah.
They want their 2nd Swedish land in a row. Of course, they took the Masters at Malmo just earlier in this year, but ENCE back to the drawing board. I think they've got a couple of things they need to iron out.
Yeah. Now, I wish it could have been closer, because looking at it as 16-6 seems like such a dominant loss or dominant performance, but overall, some good things to be said. Some good things to be said.
For sure. That's enough from us for this best of one. Vix has an interview lined up on the stage. Take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. Congratulations, Kirby. It always must feel great to start off the first match at LAN with a victory. That map looked absolutely dominant for you guys, but do you think everything just worked out according to plan?
Yeah, our game plan worked. We just wanted to play our game. We didn't look too much into ENCE this time, and it was good enough today, so I'm happy with the win.
Now let's talk a little bit about yourself. You are, of course, a recent addition to Astralis, and despite that, it seems like you're fitting right in. When we were watching those E-League matches recently, you were just right on top with Device, which is the usual star player we see from Astralis. So what has that been like for you recently joining Astralis?
Well, I'm happy that I fit in well already. I just tried to come in with a lot of confidence in the team, and I told them that I needed some of my best roles in order to make the team as good as I can, have a lot of impact. So far it's working great, but I still have a lot to learn with their play style and tactics and such.
Well, now you guys are here and you're in this group. You started off with a victory here against ENCE, and of course in the rest of the teams in your group, we have a sort of slumping Immortals as well as an SK that doesn't have the 2 players that they usually play with. So because of that, I can't help but feel like you guys must feel very confident headed forward.
Of course we're confident, but we haven't proved enough yet to underestimate our opponents, so we just gotta slowly... Just gonna show that we're good and advance comfortable from this group, hopefully, and look forward to the playoff.
All right, thank you very much, Kirby. It seems the producers were so excited with your guys' victory, they jumped the gun on the music there. But of course, it will be Astralis that takes the victory of our first match of the day. Let's head back.